Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you the complete process of creating this beautiful temple environment from scratch. We'll go through everything: building the landscape, sculpting it, downloading the right assets, placing foliage, tweaking its colors, adding candle fire effects, creating gobo and fog materials, and even working on some cinematic lighting with God rays. So, let's jump right in. First things first, head to the top left corner of Unreal and click on File New Level and choose an empty level. Don't forget to save everything before moving ahead. Right now, the scene is pitch black. So let's add some basic lighting. Go to Window and click on Environment Light Mixer. A panel will pop up. Just click or tap on each light option in there to enable all the basic lights, and then close the panel. Next, we'll create the landscape. Switch from selection mode to landscape mode. In the landscape settings, adjust the overall resolution to match the scale of your scene. Keep it stretched a bit like a road. Once you're happy with the size, just hit Create and go back to selection mode. Now we'll need some models, so head over to the Fab Marketplace and search for Paragon. You'll find a free pack called Paragon, Agora and Monolith Environment Pack. Add that to your project. Once it's added, open your content browser. You'll see a new folder called Paragon Props. Open it up and turn on the static mesh filter. This will show all the static mesh assets in the pack. From here, scroll down and drag Jungle Trim Row 1 Broken 250 into your viewport. Bring in the one beside it too. Place both of them side by side in a clean line, and then start placing more models the way you want, forming a kind of pathway. Now drag in Jungle Trim 01, Curved DR1, and rotate it slightly to maintain the flow of your scene. You can even scale it a little for better fitting. Place a copy of it on the other side, and then start duplicating the front model using Alt plus left click. Line them up based on the size and structure you want. Let's save this progress. Press Ctrl plus S, create a new folder, you can name it anything, and save the level with the name Temple. Now select all the models you've placed, and adjust their scale and position until they sit nicely in your scene. If something looks off, you can always tweak it manually. Let's add a quick bookmark to make navigation easier. Go to the top left corner, click the three lines, scroll down to Bookmarks, and click Set Bookmark 1. You can now jump back to this camera angle anytime by pressing 1. Super handy when you're working on a big scene. Now for a cool trick. Select all the models you placed in the outliner, duplicate them, and move them to the left side. Then right-click, go to Transform Mirror, Y-axis. Just like that, the models are mirrored to the other side, giving your environment a nice symmetrical look. Pretty easy, right? Alright, now it's time to set up the landscape blend material. You can either create one yourself, or to save time and get a professional result, you can download a great free blend material provided by Unreal Sensei. Just head over to the description of his video, scroll to the downloadable assets to follow the tutorial section, and click the link. Fill in your name and email ID, and the materials and models will be sent straight to your inbox, all for free. Once downloaded, go to the Castle Assets folder you received and copy it into your project's content folder. Super simple. Now open Unreal, head to the content browser, and you'll see a folder named Castle Assets. Open it, then go into the Landscape subfolder. You'll find a material called M-Landscape Instant. This is the blend material we'll use. But wait, you can't just drag it directly onto the landscape. Instead, go to the Details panel of your landscape and drag this material into the Landscape material slot. The landscape will now turn completely black. Don't panic. Just switch from Selection mode to Landscape mode, click on the Paint tab, and now you'll see all your material layers listed. Start by clicking the plus button next to each layer and choose Weight Blended Layer, Normal, for each one. Then hit Save. Watch the magic happen. Now repeat this for all the layers. Once that's done, you can start painting. Pick any material and use it like a paintbrush across your landscape. Try creating a road-like path like I'm doing here. You can get creative too, like painting some rocky textures under your models for more natural grounding. If you want a wet, reflective look, choose the water material and gently paint areas to look like puddles. If you overdo it, just hold Shift while painting to erase. Next up, let's add the stairs. Head into Paragon Props, apply the static mesh filter, and search for the Jungle Stairs model. Drag it into the scene, scale it to fit the size of your environment, and rotate it 90 degrees to align properly. Adjust its position to blend naturally with the terrain. Now duplicate the stairs backward 3 to 4 times, or however long you want your stair section to be. And that gives us our base structure. Let's return to landscape mode and use the sculpt tool to raise the terrain a bit. Use the flatten tool, number 4 on your brush list, to even things out, and the smooth tool to clean up rough edges. Using just these 3 brushes, sculpt, flatten, and smooth, you can give the stairs a really polished, integrated look. Alright, time to bring in our temple model. Head over to YouTube and search for Max Hayes' channel. He posted a video about a free temple model 2 years ago. In the description, click the link under Free Assets Pack from the video, enter your email, and the models will be sent to your inbox. Again, totally free. This temple model is made in Blender and looks absolutely stunning. Export it as an FBX file and import it into Unreal Engine. Now drag the main temple model into your scene and scale it to match the size of your stairs. It looks amazing, high detail, and perfectly fitting the mood. Drag in the temple stone model and align it with the base of the pillars beneath the temple. Rotate it slightly, duplicate it 3 or 4 times to form a line, and then mirror those duplicates to the other side using Transform Mirror Y. Look at that, it's really coming together now. Let's trim down the landscape a bit. Head into landscape mode, click Manage, and remove any unnecessary parts behind the temple. We don't need that much space. Just keep what's essential. Now let's add some rounded rocks to make the scene even more epic. These can be found in the Paragon props folder too. Drag in a few rounded rock meshes, scale them up, rotate them, 90 degrees on the x-axis works great, and place them around the road and temple. Duplicate and place them in rows or clusters. You can even use a really large rock. Drag it upward to add volume and duplicate it toward the back for some depth. Adjust the scale as needed, and soon your whole scene will start to look much more alive and cinematic. Now drag in the base wall piece brace from Paragon props, place it behind the temple, rotate and scale it slightly, and then mirror it to the other side. This gives the temple a solid background foundation. Set bookmark 2 here so you can jump back anytime with a shortcut. Next, we'll add a model called P. Rotate and scale it, and place it into the rounded rock formations to fill out the composition. Duplicate it upward to give more structure and variety to the rock design. Once done, select all these rocks and duplicate them to the left side. Mirror them along the y-axis to create a balanced layout. You can also extend your scene further by duplicating some of these landscape rocks backward and painting on them again with the landscape blend material to maintain the visual consistency. And just like that, your scene is turning into a full cinematic temple environment. Now it's time to head over to the Unreal Marketplace and download the Infinity Blade Grasslands pack. Just add it to your project and you're good to go. Once that's done, close the marketplace and jump back into your scene. Inside the Infinity Blade Grasslands folder, enable the static mesh filter and look for an arch model, something that matches the environment's feel. Once you find it, drag it into your scene, rotate it a bit, and place it right between the pillars. Then copy and stack it downward about 4 to 5 times to build that layered arch design. Now select all 5 arches, duplicate them, and place them side by side to cover the full row of pillars. Duplicate them once more for the left side, then right-click, transform, mirror on the y-axis to place it on the other side. With this, the pillars now look way more detailed and structured. Next, let's decorate the base of the stairs. Using some props from the Paragon props pack, place a few models around the stair base, especially those circular rocks. These are perfect because we'll be placing statues on top of them later. Arrange the rocks on both sides of the stairs to make the base look rich and grounded. Now, let's apply some materials. Paragon Props has some amazing high-quality materials that you can drag directly onto your temple, pillars, and the arch models. Try a few out and stick with the one that fits best. Make sure to apply the same material to both sides so everything looks consistent. The temple is already starting to look epic. Let's return to those curved rocks behind the scene. Duplicate them downwards, then right-click and use the Transform tool to mirror them on the Z-axis. This flips them and gives you a nice base layer below. On the left side, remove the current curved rock and adjust the position and size of the right one to match. Then simply duplicate that whole setup and mirror it to the left. The entire rock formation now looks much more natural and awesome. Let's bring in some more nature. Drag in some grassy models from the Infinity Blade Grasslands pack. Apply a grassy material to them and duplicate them multiple times until they blend into the rocky terrain. Repeat this on the left side. The scene is now coming together beautifully. Time to add some statues. Go to Fab Library, search for statues, and download a few free ones that you like. Once they're in your scene, place them right on top of those circular rocks we added earlier. Scale and rotate them to make them look like they're naturally sitting on those platforms. Duplicate and mirror them to the other side. You can even add a dog statue up front for that extra touch. Apply the same material you used on the temple, or better, download a Roman statue material from Fab and drag it onto these models. Scale things down a bit if the statues feel too big. Adjust the surrounding rocks too, and that's it. The statues are now set and looking perfect. To complete the look, duplicate those circle rocks downward and add them to both sides. We'll now create a railing along the stairs using the same rocks we placed earlier. Duplicate and align them to form a continuous railing on both sides. Just select all rocks on the right, duplicate, and mirror them on the y-axis to instantly create the left railing. To add more depth, I've downloaded some wall models from Fab. Bring them into the scene, scale them up, and place them near the background. Add some different design elements on top of the walls to break repetition. Apply the materials from Paragon props just like we did before, and align them properly. Now duplicate the whole wall and keep placing it until it reaches the far end. Once the left side is done, mirror it to the right to maintain balance. Don't forget to save your project frequently. Now let's download one more pack from Fab. It's called City of Brass Environment. Add it to your project, then browse into the folder. Use the static mesh filter to find some cool corridor pieces and place them randomly around the left and right of your scene to create variety and uniqueness. Also, try placing some garden lattice models near the stairs. You can continue decorating using more base wall pieces from Paragon props, aligning them near the temple's edges. The scene is starting to give off a really nice vibe now. Use your creativity to add a few more random props from Paragon props, maybe a wooden grass house or other unique models. Scale them as needed and place them in ways that bring more life to the environment. Now, let's focus on the edges of the landscape. Place some of the rock models along the sides to give it a more realistic look. You'll find these rocks in the Paragon props pack. This part might take some time, as you'll need to manually place and rotate each rock with varying sizes to make it look natural. But once it's done, trust me, it'll be totally worth it. To make the temple look more abandoned, let's add some hanging vines or grassy elements from the City of Brass pack. Place them across the temple structure, on the pillars, at the top, and in between. Rotate and mirror them to create variety. Adjust the color tone if needed to match your scene. Maybe make them a bit darker. And that's it. Now the temple looks completely abandoned and absolutely epic. Now it's time to add a post-process volume to our scene so we can control the exposure settings exactly how we want. Click the plus icon at the top left, go to Visual Effects, and from there select Post-Process Volume. Drag it into your scene. It'll appear like an empty box. Now head over to the Details panel, scroll down, and check Infinite Extent Unbound to make sure it affects the whole scene. Then go back up to the exposure settings, switch the metering mode to manual, and set the exposure compensation value depending on your scene. I'll keep it at 12, which looks good for this environment. Next, let's do some quick tweaks to the rocks. Duplicate and place a few forward to add depth and fill in some gaps. Now we need to grab one more pack from the Unreal Marketplace. It's called Infinity Blade Castle. Once added, you'll find a folder named Environment Pack 2. From here, bring in a statue that looks like a guardian figure and place it to the left and right side of the temple stairs. This gives a powerful, watchful look. Let's add a bit of mystery. Drag in this dinosaur egg model from Paragon props and place it into the scene. Maybe it's a dino egg, or maybe a bird's. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now let's build a fire torch setup. Open the Infinity Blade. Grasslands folder and find the mesh called SM Plane Castle. Drag it into the scene and place it at the top of the stairs where you want your torches to be. From the same pack, bring in a railing mesh, resize it as needed, and align it along the edges of the stairs. Duplicate it multiple times until it stretches to the end of the stairs, and then copy the whole setup to the left side so both edges look symmetrical. Scale down the torch mesh to fit the scene better, then start duplicating it just like we did with the railing. Add torches in a row, and then duplicate the entire set to the opposite side to maintain symmetry. Looking good already. Now, let's slightly adjust the sunlight angle based on your mood. Whether it's sunrise or mid-afternoon, you can shape the vibe of the whole scene. Next up, candle fire setup. We'll start by downloading some free candle models from Fab. Make sure you pick ones without fire effects. Now, for the flame, we'll head to the Unreal Marketplace and download a pack called MS VFX Volrun 2, Fire and Flames, Niagara. Add it to your project from Fab and close the marketplace. In the content browser, you'll find a new folder. Dive into the Niagara Reference Candle Fire folder. You'll find 3 fire effects. Drag any one of them into the scene. But here's a small issue. When you move the fire around, it keeps a weird location history and doesn't reset easily. So instead, let's make a blueprint to fix this and keep things clean. Right-click in the content browser, go to Blueprint class, and select Actor as the parent class. Name it however you want. Double-click to open it. Don't worry, it's easier than it looks. First, go to the Components tab, hit Add, and select Static Mesh. Rename it to Candle if you like. Then, select your candle mesh from the content browser, and from the Details panel, click the little arrow icon to assign it into the blueprint. Now add one more component. Click Add again, and select Niagara Particle System component. In its Details panel, search for Candle Fire and select the one that fits best. Adjust its scale and location to match the candle. Hit Compile and Save. And that's it! You've now got a custom candle fire blueprint that you can drag into the scene and duplicate freely without any issues. It's clean, efficient, and the bestest method. Use this same blueprint technique for other candles as well. You can even duplicate and place them along the edges of your environment. Tweak size and rotation however you like. Now, let's set the exposure a bit lower, maybe around 11, since the candlelight is starting to brighten up the scene a lot. Next, we'll add some fire torches from the same VFX pack. You'll find some great torch fire effects. Place them right on top of your torch meshes and adjust the size to fit naturally. Once done, duplicate them in a line across your stairs or railings. Select all the torch flames and copy them to the opposite side to match both ends. And now we've got an ancient temple feel going strong. Our torch and candle fire setup is nearly complete. Now it's time to focus on placing candles along the stairs. Scale the candles down to fit the steps, then place them individually with slight variation in position and size. After placing them on the right side, select them all, duplicate downward, and create a nice flow. Repeat the same process for the left side, but avoid using mirror on Y-axis inside the blueprint, as it can sometimes cause bugs. Just place them manually for full control. Now, to make the candles truly glow, let's add point lights. Bring in a point light, lower its intensity, and give it a warm yellow tint. Then duplicate it above each candle. If you see a small warning sign, a cross icon, open the Details panel and set the light to movable. Once you're done placing the lights on one side, duplicate and adjust them to the other side manually, just like we did with the candles. You'll see how magical and warm everything looks now. Also, don't forget to place point lights inside the torch flames as well. Adjust the color to a deep orange, position them at the center of the flames, and duplicate them in a clean line. Finally, do the same for the left side. And there it is. Our full candle and fire torch setup is complete, giving this ancient temple an absolutely stunning and immersive look. Now it's time to talk about trees and foliage. So when we downloaded the Paragon props pack and added it to our project, we also got another folder called Kite Demo. Inside that, you'll find some highly detailed trees. Along with that, we'll add another pack from the marketplace called Norway Maple. This one's amazing. It has customizable trees, and you can even change their colors. Let's start by dragging a few trees from these packs into our scene. Now, to change the color of these trees, head over to the content browser and find the MS Presets folder. Inside that, go into MS Foliage Material, and then open the Global Foliage Actor folder. You'll find a blueprint there called BP Global Foliage Actor. Just drag that into your scene. In the Details panel, you can tweak the season and health values. Adjust the season strength, brightness, and saturation to give the trees a nice yellow-orange autumn look. You can also control the wind from here. Just remember to move this actor below the ground so it doesn't show up in the render. Now that we've set that up, let's move on to foliage painting. Go into foliage mode and drag in the trees you want to use, both from Paragon props and Norway maple. Adjust their size, scale, location, and rotation however you like. You can paint them using the brush tool, but personally, I prefer placing them one by one for more control. Just click and place them manually. It takes a little more time, but it gives a much better result. One small tip: don't paint too many trees at once, especially if your PC isn't very powerful. Work within your hardware limits. As I place each tree, I'll fast forward this part so you don't get bored. We can also rotate the sun to get different lighting moods. Just look at how the whole scene is starting to feel alive and more realistic now. Next, we're going to place candles inside the temple. We'll add light sources and duplicate the candle blueprints around to brighten up the space. If any trees overlap awkwardly, just go back into foliage mode and fix them. I'll place the candles along the sides of the temple and near the doorway. They look so good here. Now let's add a bell model that I downloaded from Fab. I'm going to place it right in the center of the temple to add a dynamic element. And most importantly, don't forget to save your scene. Next up, let's download a skeleton head model from Fab. There are free ones available. I'm going to place these heads along the road between the railings. Adjust their scale, rotate them a bit, and on top of each skeleton head, we'll place our candle blueprint with a point light. I downloaded multiple variations of the skulls, so I'll place around 5 of them randomly to make the scene feel more eerie and haunted. After that, we'll select all of these and duplicate them along the road and railings. Some candles might move slightly, just reposition them where needed. I'll fast forward this part too to save time. Now, let's add physical rocks using a tool called Physical Layout Tool. Download and add it to your project. But before using it, go to Edit Plugins, search for Physical Layout, and enable the plugin. Then restart your project. Once that's done, go to Selection Mode, Physical Layout Mode, and then to Paint Place. We'll use rock models from Paragon props. First, make sure your rock models have collision enabled. Use Auto Collision. Then, drag the rock into the Add Reference Mesh to Place area, and do the same for 2 or 3 other rocks. Set the Z value of minimum and maximum position randomness to 200, and set max rotation random to 360. Adjust the scale to your liking, and make sure to tick Place with Gravity. This is super important. Now start painting the rocks onto the ground. If any rock looks off, just remove it and adjust the scale or settings. You can tweak rotation to 180 if you prefer, and continue placing the rocks. After painting, click on Select All Placed Actors, and then hit Bake Selected Actors into Instanced Mesh. Now go back to Selection Mode, and if you want to select all placed rocks, just search for Actor 0 in the Details panel and select it. You can now duplicate this whole group and place it all around, left, right, and near the stairs as well. Let's also paint some grass while we're at it. Go back to Foliage Mode, drag in a grass model, and start painting. Place it across the scene based on your preference. And look at that! The scene is really starting to come alive now. Now let's move on and create our fog material, which is actually super easy to make. First, create a new folder called Fog, then right-click inside it and create a material. Name it Fog and double-click to open it in the material editor. The first thing we'll do is select the main node and, under blend mode, change it from opaque to translucent. Now right-click in the middle of the graph and search for the radial gradient exponential node. Add it and connect its output to the base color input. Next, head to the content browser and search for a noise texture. Pick any one that you like and drag it into the graph. We'll bring in a multiply node, connect the noise texture to it, and then plug the multiply node's output into opacity. To make the texture move, add a panner node and connect it to the UVs of the noise texture. This gives the fog a moving effect. Now, right-click the speed input on the panner node and select Promote to Parameter. Name it Speed so we can adjust it easily later on. We'll add another multiply node and also bring in the depth fade node. Connect the depth fade output into this multiply node, then feed this into the earlier multiply node we created before. Now right-click on both inputs of the depth fade node, opacity and fade distance, and promote them to parameters too. Set both of their default values to 1. Finally, take another connection from the radial gradient exponential node and plug it into this multiply node at the end. That's it. Hit Apply, then Save. Our fog material is ready. Now let's apply it to the scene. First, create a material instance of the fog material so you can tweak the values easily. Then bring a plane into the scene, scale it up, and drag the material instance onto it. You can adjust the settings like opacity, speed, and scale to your liking. Now just duplicate the plane multiple times and place them all around your scene. You can rotate them, scale them differently, and adjust the direction to make the fog look more natural. And just like that, our fog material is done. See, it wasn't that hard. Next up, let's create our Gobo material, and just like before, it's super simple. Start by creating a new material and name it Gobo. Open it up, and this time, under Blend mode, choose Masked instead of Opaque. Now, middle-click and left-click together to quickly create a constant 1 vector node. You'll also need a noise texture again, so search for one and drag it into the graph. Connect the noise texture to the opacity mask, and the constant 1 vector to base color, specular, roughness, and normal. That's it! Your Gobo material is ready. This will help us create really nice God ray effects. Now drag in a plane into the scene, scale it up, and apply the Gobo material to it. Place it on the left side, high up in the air so the sunlight can pass through it. You can scale and duplicate this plane multiple times to create a fuller effect. To get God rays, go to the exponential height fog settings in the Details panel and enable volumetric fog. You can adjust the extinction scale to control the fog density. Then, select your directional light and increase the volumetric scattering intensity. This enhances the visibility of the God rays. Duplicate the Gobo planes to fill out the left side more. If you want, enable two-sided in the material, so the fog looks richer from both directions. Now our temple is a little dark, so let's add some rect lights near the entrance. Adjust the intensity to brighten it up just enough and even place a few rect lights inside trees for a soft fill light effect. Add as many as you like to achieve the lighting look you want. Now it's time to finalize our environment by adding more details. Look around your scene. Maybe some trunks, extra trees, grasses, or rocks could make it feel more complete. You can paint more grass to fill empty spots or place extra lights to enhance shadows around the temple. From the Paragon props pack, add some small decorative assets, like that red flower. It looks great when scattered randomly. And from the City of Brass environment pack, grab a few assets and drag them in to add variety and realism. Feel free to add any abandoned objects or walls, whatever fits the story of your scene. Let's go a step further now. We'll add falling leaves and flying birds. For this, download a pack called Rural Australia from the marketplace. It's a free and excellent pack. Add it to your project and inside the Rural Australia Effects folder, you'll find a falling leaves effect. Just drag it into the scene and place it near trees. Duplicate it a few times to spread the effect out. Now add the flying birds from the same folder. Drag it into your scene, place it above the temple, and boom! Flying birds circling above. What a vibe! Now our environment is 100% complete. Now for the final step, camera animation. Super easy. Start by creating a new folder called Sequence. Then go to the top bar and click on the film icon and choose Add Level Sequence. Save it inside your Sequence folder and name it Fantasy-Temple. Once your sequence opens, click on the camera icon to add a camera. Inside the camera settings, set the focal length to 16 and in the Details panel, choose 16.9 DSLR as the aspect ratio. Now let's add some keyframes. Stretch the timeline. Move the camera to your starting position, then in the Transform section, click the little circular icon to add a keyframe. Move forward in the timeline to the ending point of the animation. Adjust the camera to the end position and hit the keyframe button again. Set the first keyframe to linear and leave the last as cubic for a smooth finish. Done! You now have a clean cinematic camera animation. Now it's time to render the final output. We'll need to enable two plugins. Movie Render Queue additional render passes. Enable them and restart your project. Once back in Unreal, go to Windows Cinematics Movie Render Queue. Select your sequence, Fantasy Temple, and click Settings. Now do a few quality tweaks. Delete the JPEG output. Click the plus icon and add anti-aliasing. Add shutter timing and choose frame. Close in console variables. Add 2 render quality variables. You can copy/paste them. Enable game override, then high resolution, then EXR sequence. Go to output settings. Choose 30 FPS and select the folder where you want the render saved. Now hit accept, and then click render local. And that's it. Our environment is fully complete. This project was an absolute joy to work on. We created everything from scratch. Rocks, candles, Gobo materials, birds, leaves, lighting, animation, and more. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.